Things going on, and when people see that, and that's one thing that this stemmed from a tweet, and the exact tweet, Jay, is Wiz Khalifa tweeted, "Hit this KK and become yourself." That was the tweet that we're allegedly assuming that Kanye mistook, and goes on to tell Wiz that his first ever single was corny. And if we're speaking on I Roll Up, I agree. I did not like the Rolling Papers album. But Wiz, as he tweets later, I don't. No, the first single isn't. Black and Yellow's already out though. Black and Yellow's already out when the label decides to go, hey, let's do the Rolling Paper thing. They dropped the I Roll Up. Or was I Roll Up first? I believe I Roll Up. I don't remember, but I Roll Up essentially became the bigger brand of what's the name. But I think Black and Yellow wasn't the single though.
It wasn't. I Roll Up.
I mean, I think it was like a promo. Like I think it came out during the mixtape days because like Cabin Fever 1 comes out before Rolling Paper.
And I heard you're right though. And to speak on the Wiz tweet, hit this KK become yourself. I watched the interview and Kanye said, "Have you ever got high before?" Like,
okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
Like, have you ever got high before?
No.
And that's besides the fact here. But but the fact is, I think he's saying like back to how Kanye was speaking on the saying like when I'm high, I'm myself. I'm relaxed. I'm calm. You know, I'm not under pressure. When I watched the interview, this was during the time when Kanye was going mad, or as everybody knows, Houseway.
Right.
How during that time, and he spoke on this. I just think that's partially where it could come from, or it could relate back to, even though it was in the midst of a situation. But from my opinion, I just think that's what it was. It was piggybacking on. Become yourself. Hit this KK.
You smoking?
I mean, at the end of the day, just honestly saying, I think it was really about promoting waves. At the end of the day, what we should be talking about, not the gossip. It was about the promotion of Waves that comes out in 10 days. Kanye West is calling it the best album of his life. How excited are we at this table about new Kanye West? Especially, wait, after some people felt the disappointing Yeezy, something raunchy, something really that was distorted to the ear, wasn't normal. And even My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, a guy like Jared here, when I met him, he hasn't been a Kanye West fan since 07 graduation. So if people are melodic, Kanye is always gonna be here. Kanye auto-tune, he loves that. And what the things I've read about the article about the album is that it's a mastered Yeezus sound. And what a mastered Yeezus sounds like to me is Blood on the Leaves. I think Blood on the Leaves was the song where it was like, this was this weird, dun, 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 and it was in your face, but you could have been somebody, and we just all, oh, this nigga Yeezy is something else. And he has raps all on it, and it's just like, and you know, I think if people heard like more Blood on the Leaves, I think that's what we're gonna get out of the things like Wolves and things like that, and the masters, some of the best moments on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and the best moments from 808 with that old, them first 3 albums soul sampling. I think Kanye, I don't care if a Views comes out. If Kanye's album sounds like what I think it's gonna sound like, I only need Waves. How excited is everybody about Waves, man? About Kanye's new album, man?
I'm looking forward to it.
After, was you gonna go to?
You do it.
Well, you are first in line. After listening to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, like all the way through, and seeing what he did with the musical pieces, if Waves is gonna sound something like that, or if it's gonna sound like Yeezus, like but remastered or however you want to put it, Waves, it's gonna sound like Quincy Jones produced it.
It's gonna sound like Thriller.
It's gonna be Thriller, but it's gonna be like the rap hip hop, like because Mike was pop. This is Kanye. It's gonna be rap hip hop.
And that's one thing Kanye does is bring everybody from walks of life. Like you see on the track list, he has guys like Kirk Franklin and Dougie Fresh in there. He's working on the music, and I know a guy like you, Jay, seeing different types of guys like that in the studio, hearing different types of music. That's what you're really into. That, you know, type of alternative style and bringing something new to the music. You know, he had guys like Tyler in the studio, and just everybody from Tyler Creator to 2 Chainz. Those are 2 different spectrums. You know what I mean? Having those type of people in the room, and just man, I'm excited. Yeezy, man. Hey, before we move on from Yeezy, man, anybody else want to say something about Yeezy season? He has new clothing coming out. I know the album promo is gonna be crazy. I know the visuals are gonna be crazy. It's Yeezy.
I want to say something. Man, Ye, if you watching this, you hearing it, wherever you at in the world, man. For the culture, we need the music and we need the clothing, man. I need a shirt, man. We need
For free.
I'll make you a shirt. I'll take y'all some
Yeah, we'll
clothes.
switch half bias for
We need a
Yeezy
shirt, man.
We'll put your name on it.
We need something.
All right.
Just for the culture,
Right.
man.
No, we ain't putting your name on it though, but
Let me touch on the Yeezy season. If Waves has any creativity close to which was like that heartbreak with the paranoia or anything like that, that's when I became a real fan of the Yeezy. If he touches me like that again,
That's a great 808s is unmatched, man.
we might not need a views, but you know I'm on.
Six.
Man, if any man touched me like that again, I'm just gonna have to tell him, okay, but I'm gonna just say, this next one coming up, man, this Yeezus, oh my God, Kanye West is not like experimental Kanye West no more. He's more like,
I know what
he's
y'all
more
niggas
like, I went to church yesterday, Kanye West. You know what I mean? He's more like, he was happy at one point, and then now it's like a little mixed up now since everything got all mixed up. But I know he's waiting for his album to really come out. But this Waves, the reason I'm saying this is because this Kanye, you know, a lot of greatness is made. It's not going to be experimental. I know people are not going to hate it. Like, people are not going to talk bad about it like they did the last album. This is the album that he want people to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The last album, he didn't want people to really talk. I mean, he wanted people to talk about it. He wanted them to call him crazy. It was like Beyonce coming out with a I don't know, Iggy Azalea.
yeah. No, you didn't.
It was like, okay, wait,
You can't rap, by the way. But
I'm trying to, okay, look, okay. It was like, what
was it like, Jay?
Okay. It was like a Beyonce coming out as like a Willow Smith. That's what I'm saying. More knowledge. He wanted to put knowledge into this track and be experimental, be more indie and not hip hop. Kid Cudi made a whole album that wasn't hip hop just for a reason that they don't label him a hip hop artist, and
they still call it.
And right, they still call it a hip hop artist. And this is what Kanye wanted to do. He kind of wanted to mix. He wanted to confuse the people who's labeling his music. You know what I mean? And this time he's not confusing them. It's an actual hip hop album, but he called it a gospel album. He called it a gospel album. And that's all you gotta know, man. And if these black artists are actually making gospel albums, and Farrakhan is actually making these men priests,
Hey, they are though.
then yeah, we just gonna have to look out for real hip hop music. We're gonna have different styles of hip hop now. It's not just gonna be hip hop. It's gonna be light hip hop, heavy hip hop, medium hip hop. We need different types of hip hop because it's not just
Like
one
subgenre.
for one more thing, to piggyback what Jalen said, I feel like this is the return of Michael Jordan after he stopped playing baseball. This is how I feel about Yeezus. It's like he's coming back with a storm. This is the Michael Jordan that couldn't shoot threes before. Now he's coming back and dominating the game. This is how I feel about Yeezus. I'm really stoked about this album. And that'll be my final comment. Shout out to Yeezus, man.
Easy season's approaching. You got one thing to say, Jay?
Yeah, so is it like if you're a black artist, you get labeled under hip hop and rap no matter what?
True. But, confining us, because we can't stretch the boundaries, I guess. Because hip hop has always been this thing of, they've always tried to downplay hip hop. Because it's always been meant to speak for black culture, I think. And I think if we talking about guys touching the parameters outside of hip hop, like, damn, he makes rock too, that means he touches more than black culture. I think that's something, a fear in white America if we're going to get, conspiracy about it. I think that is definitely a fear. And you don't want guys like Cudi, because guys like Cudi are guys that has a big demographically white fan base, Caucasian fan base, and touches a lot more Caucasians than he actually does the quote-unquote hip-hop fan to black people,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The first person that came to my mind when I had just said that was Travis Scott.
Yeah, and the same thing. LaFlame has some alternative, but LaFlame's getting more hip hop side. I think he knows how to play the fence. Yeah, but before it was definitely that.
Cause I had never listened to anything Travis.
But a great transition, man. Speaking on what white America wants, man. A big song that came out. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
I never liked you niggas. Who knew one day I'd be just like you niggas?